Joining us right now, as he always does join us at this time when we're lucky, is the one and only Larry Kudlow, CNBC senior contributor, and of course, host of the Larry Kudlow Show on WMAL Saturday, 7 p.m. Good morning, Larry.
Morning.
So let's start with this African summit, if you don't mind. You know, all of Washington, good portions of downtown are shut down because of the traffic of all these African dignitaries coming into town to try to boost investment and business in the continent of Africa. Not necessarily a bad idea, but what's interesting to me is they haven't been talking very much about the growing threat of Islamic terror, the Boko Haram, all the various Islamic terror groups that really have become a cancer on so many of the countries in Africa. What businesses are going to throw a bunch of millions and billions of dollars over to that continent unless we're confident that the governments can protect that investment?
Well, I can't help you much there. I wish I knew more about these African governments. I mean, there's a certain amount of oil and gas, there's a certain amount of minerals. Some governments are more capitalist than others. I mean, there is some activity in Africa, but I think it's a weak region. I don't think much is going to happen there. I
got to ask, though, I mean, given that, you would think that Europe, considering they've had interests in Africa for quite some time, if there was an investment to be made, they would be making it. Why should the president be sort of trying to influence U.S. businesses to make that risky investment?
Well, look, he can try. He can try. As far as I know, and again, I am no expert on Africa, but the oil and gas business has always been just about the most promising business in parts of Africa, and maybe we can strengthen that, maybe we can't. South Africa has a decent economy. It's always been one of the BRIC countries, and we've traded there and we invest there. But really, you're talking about, so far as I know, natural resource economies. And the question is the political unrest worth the cost for whatever benefits may be gotten? I don't see it as a major story at all.
Very interesting. Well, what about our own economy right now? The stock market's been on a wild ride lately. I think a lot of people are just wondering what's going on. Is there, a bubble, a big crash coming? You've heard all kinds of odd reports. So what do you make of all this?
Nothing.
Well, that's good to know.
Absolutely nothing. Corrections are very healthy, and this is a fairly minor correction. Keep your eye on profits. Profits are the mother's milk of stocks, and profits are actually rising faster in the second quarter than we expected. I think they're going to come in 8 to 9%. That's almost twice as fast as the original estimates. There are some issues about when the Fed will begin to raise interest rates, short-term rates. I happen to be in the camp that says they'll probably raise them sooner next year rather than later. I think that's healthy. I think that will normalize.
And then what about the employment rate?
The economy's growing. We're in this rut of 2 to 2.5% growth.
Right.
I don't see that changing. By the way, I want to just link on to this. I don't see what exactly the economic growth policies are for the longer term. It's a cliche in Washington. Tell me if this is wrong. It's a cliche in Washington. It's a cliche in the media that the Republicans are in very, very good shape to capture the Senate. Okay? So maybe we can have corporate tax reform. Maybe we can rewrite Obamacare. Obamacare is a big negative on the economy. Corporate taxes are a big negative on the economy. So I went through, just happened to do it last night. I'll write a column on this, Real Clear Politics. You'd give up West Virginia, South Dakota, and Montana. Those are going Republican. There's no question about that. So that's a pickup of 3. Very good. Other than that, every other major race that's likely to a swing race is inside the error margin. McConnell in Kentucky is, the Hagan-Tillis race in North Carolina, the Iowa race with Joni Ernst. Arkansas, actually, Tom Cotton has a 3.6% lead over Pryor, but that's really error margin stuff, isn't it?
So you think this conventional wisdom that the Republicans are poised is not so? It's not in the tank. So
not a layup. Not a layup. I've been very critical because I don't know what the GOP national message is. Now, I know these races are going to be decided in many ways by their local idiosyncrasies. I get that, and it's sort of hard to know. But in terms of the national wave, you have a revulsion against President Obama, who's very, very unpopular, and that's going to hurt him, or that's going to hurt some of these candidates. On the other hand, take Louisiana with Cassidy's the Republican, Mary Landrieu. Cassidy's got a lead of 1%. He's got a lead of 1%. Up in New Hampshire, Shaheen's got a lead of 10.5%. I'd say that's a give up. Georgia, close. Colorado, close. As I said, Arkansas, close. Iowa, very close. North Carolina, Kentucky. My thought here is a simple thought, and that is the Republicans need their own contract with America, or you could call it a better deal, regarding economic growth, regarding take-home pay, regarding Obamacare, regarding immigration. Mm-hmm. What is their clear message? Mm-hmm. What are they trying to tell us?
They don't really have a clear message, though, because they don't agree on what to do for themselves.
And the other thing is, Susan, maybe even on immigration, okay, I'm not sure I understand the total politics of immigration yet, because Obama's going to weigh in with some kind of new deportation policy. But so far, I would say, after what they did last Friday and Saturday, the Republicans have a very harsh deportation message. That's what's coming through. Now, maybe that works in some of these midterms. Maybe. On the other hand, it's going to kill them in 2016. It's like Romney's self-deportation. I happen to be pro-immigration reform, with border security, but I believe deals can be worked out to the benefit of the entire country. But look, what's the Republican tax policy exactly?
Right.
What's the Republican? I know they're against the minimum wage, but take-home pay was Ronald Reagan's great rallying cry. How are Republicans going to help the middle class? How do we create more jobs? It's just very vague and unclear to me, and I think that's hurting them. And I think that this notion that the GOP is a wave election winner right now, okay, this could change in September and October, but right now the polling numbers don't show it. Nate Silver's latest thing coming out of 538, he gave the Republicans, quote, slightly have an edge. So I just want to put that on the table, because you talk about the stock market and some longer-range economic issues. So much of that has to do with policy. So let's, what is the policy?
Yeah, great point.
How about articulate a policy?
Excellent point.
I don't hear a policy. This business about suing the president, can I be bold enough to tell you that's nonsense? It's not going anywhere. It may appease certain factions of the party. It has no meaning whatsoever. There's no standing for that kind of lawsuit. If you want to jump a notch and go to impeachment, that becomes downright unpopular. The country wants us to fix our budget, taxes, and entitlements. I mean, what is their policy?
Larry, sorry, we got to leave it there. Thank you for joining us, though, and I know that Washington is listening to you, so that should get some
Great
attention.
Points.